Hey, how you doing? Good afternoon. Welcome to another time here. Welcome to another time the book club. We get to do this on Sundays, and we're presently reading the book, The Good Life. We're going on to chapter 8 today of the book. There are 10 chapters all in the book, and we're starting with chapter 8 today. And happy Easter. Uh, Happy Resurrection Sunday. Uh, so we're gonna go to chapter 8, family matters. That's what we're gonna be talking about in chapter 8 of our book. We're gonna be talking about family and the effect of family on family relationships on our life. The benefits, the the blessings and how we can fully harness, our family relationships, to help us have a good life. That's all we've been talking about since the first Sunday of July last year, what it means to have a good life, to have a longevity and quality, living long and living well, length and breadth of life. It's possible, but there are ways of doing it. And this is been studied. This is 85 years plus study of human development by studying real life situation, real life case study of people for more than 85 years. And the book pretty much puts together learnings from that in order to help us live a good life, a life that is rich, you know. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, and a few more Sundays to look at family, uh, how family matters in our lives. All right, like I normally do, I'm going to bring up my slide here and we're going to shoot. So it's a good life as written by Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz. They used to lead the Harvard School, and pretty much they're putting together the results of the study on what it takes to live a good life, and that's what we're running through. Uh, so these are first take on it, and the chapter has this quote, that pretty much runs through the thought in the chapter. It says, call it a clan, call it a network, call it a tribe, call it a family, whatever you call it, wherever you are, you need one. We all need a family. We all need somewhere we can say we belong to, some place where we can fall back to. We can hope that they have our back, when the rubber hits the road and every other thing is done. We want some place, some people, somewhere we can call home, someplace, somewhere when all our strength is gone, they will have our back. We can, as it were, be sure of their support. We typically call it family, but it's the relationship that counts. It's a connection that counts. It's a sense of belonging that counts. Is the being seen, being heard, being understood that counts. So that's what makes a difference in what we call a family. And so that's what we're going to be looking at. We're just going to do an introduction today. And the next few weeks, we're going to flesh out more on that, and build on it. So we'll start here. So it's the book puts this and says, although there are many insights that have come from close inspection, so looking at pretty much summarizing the studies they've had, over the years, the results they've had, it's like, although there are many insights that have come from close inspection of detailed data from the study, a casual look through the files, uh, through any of the files quickly brings up two important things from the study. And the fact is that the human life unfolds, the pace at which the human life unfolds, right? Life pretty much goes quickly. right? It was no time we started the year 2024, and today is the end of the first quarter of the year. Before we know it, 2024 is gone. Time waits for nobody. Time kind of flies, you know. It was only yesterday I was born. I can still remember my picture. Must have been like maybe 2 years old or 3 years old. I remember being in kindergarten school. I remember entering class one elementary school. I remember being in Form 1, in the secondary school. I remember doing A levels. I remember going to Benin. You know, I left Benin 34 years ago. And life just pretty goes fast, and we change from one level to another. We change places, we change relationship, we change dependency, pretty fast, and the significance, and in all of that, what they saw through the story is the significance of the family, the significance of having a place you can call home, a place you can fall back on. The Bible tells us that God puts the isolated, the standalones, the lone rangers in families. God does not see being a lone ranger to be a strength or a safe place. When you begin to read in Ecclesiastes, it says that two are better than one, because when it's cold, one can warm the other, right? One can strengthen the other. When one falls, the other one can hold him up. You can have a shoulder, to lean on. You can have a human heart to fall in. You have someone to call you, when you need a call. You need someone to call your name, and those are the things that family brings to bear for us. So and that's a power, significance of family. God thinks it's important. I think we need to submit to God's wisdom and know that's important, and fully harness, the power of family in our lives. And as we begin to look at what family is, we'll see that it's a wide spectrum. Obviously there's a family we belong to by blood, by upbringing, by origin, but that's just one part, of family. It extends even further than that. That's our nuclear family, as it were, where we get born into. We have parents, we have uncles, aunties, depending on which culture we get born into, that defines what family is. For some people, it's just their immediate family. And if you grew up in a communal setting, maybe in the village, then it takes a village to raise up a child. So it's not just your immediate parents. You have uncles, aunties, especially for those that live in family compounds, and people that also come from polygamous homes. So there could be a large network or a small network, depending on the culture you find yourself. But inevitably, families is what the creator, provided to guide us, to help our entrance into this life, and to help us even as we navigate life itself. you know and so no relationship are quite like the ones we have with our families. For better or worse, our family members are often the people most involved in our lives when we're young and developing. There and will know us for the longest stretch of time. Uh, yeah, and like again, based on culture, also based on our class, economic class. Family could be different in 1,001 ways. For me growing up, family was just beyond the immediate. It was the neighbors, the people we was close knit, unlike today where people live in flats and estates, and you're much restricted, in terms of people you might call family. Our family is in a very real way part of who we are, right? So it's every one of us has come with influences, connections, linkages to the people we call family, because they have influenced and they influence who we are and who we're growing to become, you know. So family is a big part of our life. A Grace, great click. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate your time here. Thanks. Uh, so as time passes, everyone's life stage shifts and relationship must change, As much as families are important in our lives, the dynamics must work, right? Sometimes some people expect us not to grow, like I said, I've grown so much. This is my 57th year, right? I'm going 57 later on this year. You know, uh, my father does not expect me to still behave like the 20-year-old, that used to depend on him. Almost like we've switched roles today, right? I'm in that role that he used to be in my life, So, but sometimes some people get locked up in some years, and they don't expect you to grow, and then that will cause conflict, or as it were, will limit growth. I remember some boss in the office, he came into the country. He's an American, he's a Venezuelan American, and about that will be about the late 1990s. That's when he came, and we were young then, then fast track about 15, 12 years after that. In his mind, he was still expecting the relationship of the young people, but we had grown. I mean, we couldn't take the same old way of talking that our relationship we had then, and still be at that level here, you know. But he did not move, he did not grow, and all he did was cause conflict. Today I have people that I pretty much interviewed, employed, or was part of their interview coming to the company. But that's 15 years ago or more. There are no more children, there are no more new entrants into the company, right? I can't be stuck in 15 years ago. That it's a different person I'm relating with now. It's a different person. So I must respect their growth also. I can't treat them as babies, you know. Barrister Ellen, thanks for coming. Thanks, my dear lawyer. Thanks for stopping by. I can't treat them the same way. There's going to be distortion of relationship and personalities also. Even my children, all my children are, my last child is 21 plus. They're all young adults. I have to respect their growth. I have to respect who they are. I don't talk to them like I used to relate with them when they were 5, 10, 15, 17, 18. I give them their space. I respect them for who they are. I respect them and speak and relate with them as young adults. If I relate any otherwise, I'm going to distort their growth, and I'm going to also strain our relationship also. So when we talk about family setup, we need to understand that there are dynamics, right? A child does not remain a child forever, right? You don't treat that. You have to respect the growth, the change, the transformation that is taking place in each member's life. Everyone is growing, and therefore we must not be stuck in time to when they were born. Like some mothers would threaten her, if I suck you with this breast or whatever. It's when that child gets married, you need to give that child space. You don't seek to control that child's family. You don't. That is witchcraft anyway. but those are dynamics in families we need to respect, if we want to get the fullness of the benefit, from the relationship that families are supposed to give to us, you know. So, so how a family adapts to that inevitable change is one of the key determinants of the quality of family relationships. That's what the book says, just like I said. So the question is, what is a family, or what are families? How do you define family? In a sense, we've defined it in those different words we've used, right? First of all, family starts from blood, right? It's people related by blood, but that's not where it ends, right? Our being related by blood is one sure way whereby we get born into family, but family is more than that. Also, it could be as a result of marriage, right? So when two families marry, they become one family. We call ourselves relatives, in-laws. So family is a way that we see ourselves as a part of one another, right? If we see ourselves as a part of one another and there's a connection, we become a family. So family comes in different ways, right? Uh, and it's important to note that, and respect that, because it's a connection, and for family to be a family, it must not be parasitic, right? It must be a flow from on both sides, right? Flow from one place to the other. Once there becomes a parasitic linkage, it begins to limit the blessing and the power of family. A family is a place where you feel a sense of belonging, not a sense of being used. There also the classical definition of a healthy relationship comes to bear, right? A healthy relationship is one in which people come into for the sake of what they can give, not what they can get. They come together for the sake of what they can give, not what they can get, right? However, what keeps them together is what they get, not what they give, right? We call that a paradox, right? They don't come together for what they can get, but for what they can give. But what keeps them together is what they get, not what they give, right? So no man is an island, right? No man can live and do this life on his or our own, right? We all need one another. We all we all can benefit from one another, right? We all can be a blessing to one another, right? I have a farm today, right? But the success of that farm is not attributable to myself alone. You're right. I've had a lot of help to get us to where we are. Right. I have a friend drives that always goes with me anytime I go to visit. Right. He's able to arrange a car and someone to drive. That makes a lot of difference because that's not my strength. Right. I have workers, that have a farm manager, farm workers that do the job. I don't stay in the farm, nor do I visit that often, but work still needs to get going. I have mentors, right, that showing me the way. All of those have contributed to the success that we have, right? And that's what it is in a family setup, how we contribute to one another, right? Everyone is contributing their whole. So the Bible talks about that the body is built by that which each joint contributes. Each joint contributes, right? Each joint contributes. We need one another, right? So no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main, right? We all need one another. We all connect to one another. So if any definition of a family begins with the culture that surrounds it, right? Different cultures will define it differently, but irrespective of the culture, the basic understanding is the same. It's a place where we come into, and we have a sense of belonging, a sense of connection, in that place. A family can consist of many different arrangements and levels of closeness or distance, so it's a nurturing unit of people that have a formative effect on our lives. They can come from variety of places, include a variety of people, and be called any number of things, right? So a family is a group of people who are related, like we said earlier on, by blood, by marriage, by any form of linkage, that bring them together where there's a sense of connection, and a sense of belonging, that's important. We're going to talk a bit more on that, regardless of our current lives, we still carry ghosts of our childhood and our memories of the people who raised us. That's what family does to us. It leaves a part of it on our lives. And we'll get to talk about the effects on families in our lives, when we get back here next week. We'll expand more on that, but I'm just going to have closing thoughts here and probably just lined up with the challenge I'm having on Instagram live here. Letty Cortin Great Being says, if the family were bought, it will be a canoe that makes no progress unless everyone paddles. And that's what families are, it's a place where everybody's contributing. Again, it's not a parasitic relationship. A family is not where one person expects every other person to feed him or her. Yes, as a baby at the beginning, yes, but you don't remain a baby for life. You then begin to suffocate the family if you remain a baby and not grow. There's an expectation of family being a living organism that there's growth. That a baby today will be an adult tomorrow. That who is being fend for today will begin to fend for others tomorrow, right? Not to remain a baby for life. That's important and that's necessary. The strength of a family, like the strength of any army, lies in the loyalty to each other. It's a family only when people are loyal to one another. I've been in places where, there's a whole lot of preaching about where family and trying to exalt the family of that setup above even the blood family. When the rubber hits the road and there's a need to show themselves as family, they back out. Family is not just in words, but it's in deed. A family is only family if every individual feels a sense of belonging, a sense of being loved, a sense of being seen, a sense of being heard, feels connected, feels belonging and feels helped, by that setup, not just being used, but giving and receiving, that's important. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take care of that later. So, family is family, whether it's the one you with, start out with, the one you end up with, or the family you gain along the way. So it's a family is transient. There is the one that we all get born to by blood, but that's not the end of family. We get into families by marriage, by association, and for as long as it fulfills, the requirement that we feel at home in it, just the same way there's a difference between a home and a house. A place where I feel at home is a family, and that could be at work, an association in church. The key thing is that it's a place where I feel at home in, and that could then be a family of one form or the other to me. All right. That's where I'm going to stop for today. There's a short version, probably just comes right with all the issues I have here on Instagram Live. But we'll get back next week and we'll build more on this. All right. Take care. Happy Easter once again.